Thank you for tuning in. My name is Ben Kreitzberg. I am one of the program managers here at the Conflict Resolution Center of Montgomery County. And today I am joined by Jewru Bandeh, who is a director of the East County Regional Office for the Montgomery County government. And I have invited Mr. Bandeh on today to talk about what he does as part of his role working for the Montgomery County government. And we'll also talk a little bit about what it means to be a good neighbor in our community. And I know as we'll get into it, we'll talk a lot about what Jewru and his office is doing to promote being a good neighbor and all the programmings that he's a part of. So with that, I'll let you introduce yourself as well. Jewru, welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I do want to thank you again and again for coming. You know, we really appreciate you taking your time to speak with me today. And I just want to start off for anyone who's tuning in who may not know, what a regional office does. Most people probably think it's some kind of a community center or something like that. So could you clear up for anyone watching a little bit about what it is that your office does for the government and for our community?
Thank you. In Montgomery County, we have 5 regional offices. Their offices in some communities are centers that have multiple service points. Others are in a building along with other county and community service providers. For being one of the 5, I'm in the East County Regional Office. The regional office designated by Montgomery County government is to serve as the connection between the government and our respective communities. So each of those 5 regional offices work with their elected boards. They work with businesses, civic associations, residents, as well as other county departments to identify community needs, come up with timely and appropriate solutions to those issues before they become major problems. We are also the arm of the county government that's out there in the community, really assessing those community needs, working with county departments so that we could become more accountable to the residents of our respective communities. The regional office in East County also houses a number of social service programs, as well as medical programs, workforce development, and a number of other collaboratives inclusive of Montgomery College, including Montgomery College, the WorkSource Montgomery for workforce development, employment, education, and training services. We provide pro bono legal services. So the regional center, in essence, becomes a point that provides like a one-door service point for East County, where residents could actually come in there, get information, get services, and get the help that they need.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is a fantastic description of all the things that the regional services or the regional service centers are able to provide for people. And I think it's really important that, the residents, for wherever you live, that you really need to understand, not only where your regional office is, but, what their contact information is. Because like you said, it's like a one-stop shop for anyone who's looking for, a number of services that would be able to help them. What are some ways that you're able to identify the specific needs of your, where you all are able to offer your services?
For one, in most of the regions, virtually a lot of people know how to reach us because we do have websites for each of those regional offices. We have weekly newsletters. We also have boards that are appointed by the county executive and approved by the county council, who advises the county executive and the county council on issues that impact residents and their communities. We also work with a lot of different county departments on a number of policy-related issues. And part of our job responsibility is to bring community perspectives in those policy discussions, formulations, as well as also taking that information back, working with the county departments to promote community engagement in that process. So we deal with issues from planning related issues to putting up signs, street signs, to working with communities to address noise issues, drug issues in some neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
So we deal with all sorts of issues. But again, many folks in our communities, they do know how to reach us through our newsletters. Our phones are widely publicized, but we also do have board members. For the East County, we have 18 board members, and they rotate in groups so that we continue to build relationships with stakeholders, representatives throughout the different neighborhoods in the region. They technically become the spokespersons for those neighborhoods, and they communicate those issues. But we also work with them to educate them in advocating for themselves, i.e., there was nothing wrong. They can call 311 to report an issue, and just track, that call, or track any kind of progress the county is making. And so that's one way that we also work with residents, by really helping them help themselves, to advocate for themselves over a period of time, years, that you're going to find community stakeholders who basically become more familiar with the county, so they're able to navigate it for themselves and or on behalf of their neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, everything you've just gone through now, I mean, sounds like you're pretty much an expert at community engagement at this point, and really making sure you're in every little nook and cranny of your community and branching out. So with that, I want to start talking about neighborhoods and what it means to be a good neighbor. Our center, the Conflict Resolution Center, is putting on an event at the end of the month called Be My Neighbor Day, and it's all about community engagement and trying to promote the idea of now that people are starting to come out of their house, come out of lockdown, we're going to get back to being neighbors again. And so what does that mean? What is that going to look like? How can people promote the idea of being a good neighbor? So I wanted to ask you what being a good neighbor means to you, maybe both personally and professionally, right? So what does it mean to you on that personal side in your own community, where you live, and then also on the broader spectrum, speaking from your status as the director of the regional office?
Yeah. Well, personally, as an African, to me, the region, East County, is my village. And the African saying goes, I am the village and the village is me. Who is in that village? In our village is the extended family, your extended family. So everyone is related one way or the other. One person's joy becomes everyone's joy. One person's misfortune is shared by everyone in the village. So the whole concept of a neighbor is putting yourself in that person's shoe as your extended family. You own that issue, or if you don't address that issue, you may end up owning it yourself. So the whole concept about neighbor is about human relations, in terms of how do they relate to me as if we are one extended family. In East County, we have the whole concept of making each other in this village, making each other's family, making each other's brother and sister. However, just in concept, in reality, we try to create just the human link concept in terms of the kinds of programs that we also promote, the facilitation that we do that promotes collaborative partnerships is really designed around self-help concepts. To do that is you by yourself, you cannot make a family. You by yourself, you cannot make a compound. You by yourself, you cannot make a home. You by yourself, you cannot make the village. So you are a total of everyone, and everyone is inclusive of you as a sum total of that one number. That's my personal concept.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So
Yeah.
being neighborly is really talking about your extension. That's how I take it. So it influences how I deal with my board, how I deal with folks who live in an apartment complex, how I deal with the civic associations that we're working with, how I deal with the youth group, how I deal with a constituency just around a particular neighborhood or community issue. So looking at how, neighborhood, how I'm influenced culturally to define neighborliness really dictates or kind of informs how I do my job to really make sure my office, Montgomery County, is responsive to the needs of individuals, neighborhoods, and communities.
Gotcha. Well, I love that analogy. I think that is some really interesting insight for people who are not in the realm of government and thinking about these larger organizations that do have so much to do with a lot of the services that go on around them. Yeah. I love that you're able to take that analogy, your personal outlook on being neighborly, and then transition that into the your broader professional life. That's awesome.
In government, because also in social services, I always go to the whole concept of looking at an issue, trying to resolve it before it becomes a big problem. When we don't do preventative or early intervention in terms of government services, just in the realm of social services, if we don't help someone really address their employment needs, their self-sufficiency needs, they'll end up becoming a caseload, a case in our social services, where we're going to have to help them towards housing sufficiency, towards employment, towards other economic self-sufficiency type resolutions. So to me, really how we also look at policy, if you conceptualize it in terms of whether it's me or me and other county departments, we become the person's neighbor so that we can help them at that level. So when we resolve those issues, that person then adds that momentum in building, just in numbers. So we really continue to expand that village, so just that one person could really make a big difference, because then it adds a little bit more power or juice to what we're able to do to bring another person. So the neighborliness really, for me, is kind of a very, very important, particularly in the Eurocentric, or what I call the American system, where individualism is really real. And it is a motivating factor in terms of how we live our lives. However, we are beginning to realize we need to be neighbors in so many different ways, because for somehow our fates are all intertwined, one way or the other.
So if only more people had that outlook, right? Of I'm going back to what you said. You treating your community as an extension of yourself, I think, is so. That's, I mean, it's that idea. I mean, you should put that on your T-shirt there. That's great. And I know, I just from my personal experience, our office, actually, our conflict resolution center in Montgomery County is located in the Bethesda Chevy Chase Regional Service Center. So where, if using your analogy, I guess I'm part of the neighboring village to you, but if I just keep going in that extension, then we're all part of the same. We're all Maryland, right? We're all all the same.
Exactly.
You can keep going with that extension. And I guess my personal hope is that more people start to adopt that perspective, right? And then how things would change if they would, right?
That's right. So yes. So technically, they were communities without walls.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, were houses without fences. Yes, were roads without stops. So there's so many different ways we really even look at just the layout of the land, where everything's so visible to us that if only we could take a step back and just analyze it a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
But that's normally the human challenge.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Jewru, I want to thank you again for taking your time to speak with me today and to give some insight into the type of work that our regional service centers are doing, and your insight on what it means to be neighborly and to be a real part of the community and what you can do to really help your community. And like you said, you're helping yourself by helping your community. So that's something that I think is really important, that I think people should take away.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
And real quick for anyone watching, I just want to remind you that the Conflict Resolution Center in Montgomery County is hosting our Be My Neighbor Day event on June 26th, and June 27th is a community trash pickup day. So you can register for any of the events and get more information on how you can participate. We would love to have as many people participate as possible. So you can visit the link that'll be in the description of this video, as well as I'll have a link on the screen here that you can visit if you'd like to either sign up to pick up some trash in your community or sign up in some of the other events we have going on. So one more time, I want to thank you, Jewru. Thank you so much for stopping by and having this conversation with me. I look forward to many more conversations with you moving forward. And to anyone who's curious about the Conflict Resolution Center in Montgomery County, you can visit our website right up here, crcmc.org. And Jewru, where can people find information about your center? Where would you send them?
My office number is 240-777-8411. That's my direct line, or they could email me at jewru.bandeh, jewru.bandeh, BANDEH, at montgomerycountymd.gov, one word. That's my direct phone number and my email, and we'll get back to you within 24 hours. We really try to be responsive to the community, so we'd love to hear from you. But we also like to thank you, Ben. We did and will continue to refer a lot of people to your services, and we want to thank you for all the good work you do to help residents and communities in Montgomery County. So our partnership with your organization has been very, very valuable for many of our communities. So thank you very, very much.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Without the regional offices throughout the state, a lot of programs like ours wouldn't be able to have as much of an effect as we can. So
thank you.
Thanks again. And thanks everybody for tuning in, and make sure to share, like, and subscribe. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.